Smoke twists upward black against the pale dawn as a group of Homo erectus hunches low in the tall grass, their bodies taut, their faces smeared with ash. The hunt has begun. They stalk a herd of antelope clustered near the river. Every movement calculated, every step pressed silently into the earth. But this is no ordinary moment in time. Imagine if Homo erectus had never faded into extinction, if their line had continued alongside our own, carving out their destiny in the same landscapes we now inhabit. What would survival look like when two human species shared one world, competing for the same prey, the same rivers, the same fragile spark of existence? That is the question we step into today. The hunters fan out, forming a crescent in the golden grass. One female raises her arm, gripping a stone blade, chipped crudely from flint, its edges jagged and sharp. She signals, and two males surge forward, driving the antelope into the shallow bends of the river. The herd panics, hooves splashing, bodies colliding in chaos. A young Erectus dives into the fray, but the water turns against him. Swift currents drag at his legs, threatening to sweep him downstream. For a heartbeat, it is not the prey, but the hunter who teeters on the edge of death. Yet a companion leaps, embracing his body against the current, pulling the youth to the bank. Survival is never an individual act. It is the tribe or nothing. They drag one antelope down, stone blades flashing in rhythm, blood spraying as the animal's cries echo across the valley. The kill is victory, but it is also noise. Carrion birds circle almost instantly, and from the shadows of the forest edge, eyes glimmer a rival clan of Homo habilis, leaner, smaller, yet dangerous in number. They have heard the cries, smelled the blood. The Erectus know what this means, not just predators of tooth and claw, but competitors of mind and muscle. The two groups stare across the clearing, bodies rigid. The habilis carry rocks in their hands, ready to hurl. The Erectus brandish their stone blades, standing over the fresh kill. The standoff trembles like a bowstring, one spark away from eruption. A storm brews in the distance, dark clouds rolling over the horizon, wind tearing through the savannah grass like invisible claws. The air thickens with tension, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Then, chaos strikes not from the rival clan, but from the sky. Lightning forks across the plain, thunder shakes the ground, and the antelope carcass lies forgotten as the storm unleashes its fury. Sheets of rain drench the hunters' blinding eyes, turning soil into sucking mud. The habilis scatter first, their retreat swallowed by the downpour. The Erectus, drenched and burdened with meat, retreat toward the canyon walls, stumbling as torrents of water carve new channels through the land. Inside the cave, fire sputters. Smoke chokes the chamber as women shield children with broad leaves folded into crude cups to catch drinking water. A wounded elder lies on the ground, his leg gashed open from an earlier hunt. One female chews bitter roots, spitting them into her hand, pressing the mash into the wound to staunch the bleeding. Every gesture, every instinct is an act of survival born not of words, but of necessity carved into flesh and memory. The storm rages the world outside, drowned in a symphony of thunder and flood. Yet within the cave, there is life. The tribe gathers around the fragile fire, their eyes reflecting its flicker, their hearts bound by more than blood. They know the world will never yield easily. They know rivals and predators stalk at every edge. But they also know this, together they endure. The storm passes like a predator losing interest. What's left behind is ruined trees cracked open, burrows flooded the savannah slick with fresh mud. The sun returns not as warmth, but as warning, revealing the wreckage the new scent trails the vanished paths. The Homo erectus tribe emerges cautiously from the cave, scanning the soaked earth with instincts sharpened by millennia. The carcass is gone stolen by night scavengers. Hunger returns not a growl, but a shadow in their ribs, a stiffness in their limbs. They must move again. They always must move. The matriarch leads her arms scarred from years of survival, her gait steady even as her knees ache. She marks a direction with her arm toward the foothills where berries cling to thorny shrubs and small mammals leave tracks near the rocks. A child stumbles his feet raw from wet terrain, but a youth lifts him without pause. There is no room for weakness unless that weakness is protected. As they traverse a narrow ridge, the second great conflict begins, not of stone or fire, but of sight. On the valley floor below, a massive shadow moves, not upright, not human. It is a saber-tooth, its coat dark as burned bark, its fangs curved like ivory hooks. It slinks beside a watering hole where gazelle drink its shoulders, rippling beneath its skin. The tribe freezes. One child breathes too loudly. The saber-tooth's ears twitch. A strategy is born not from discussion, but from motion. One of the older males breaks away, circling wide arms full of dry twigs soaked in animal fat. Another pulls flint from his satchel, no pouch, just a strip of hide tied to his waist, and scrapes it furiously until spark meets moss. A flame flickers in the wind. The rest of the group stays low, guarding the young. The decoy male moves down the ridge with fire in hand, shouting not with voice, but with his body arms wide, chest lifted, feet stomping. The saber-tooth turns momentarily confused by the smell of smoke and the display of size. Fire in this era is not mastery. It is barely controlled chaos. But it is enough. The beast snarls its tail, lashing the air, and retreats with a low growl into the brush. The male returns empty-handed, but alive. No cheers erupt. Only breaths released. Only the quiet tightening of the group around him. Victory is always silent in the wild. Later, they reach the hill basin where berries and insects offer sustenance. A few brave ones crack open termite mounds, licking protein-rich insects from inside with practiced ease. Children mimic giggling when their tongues are stung. The laughter is brief, but it is a flicker of something older than words, bonding, teaching the transmission of courage through joy. Yet, as dusk falls, another sign appears. Tracks in the mud. Not feline. Not antelope. Human. Bare feet, but wider than their own. Deeper. Heavier. Homo sapiens. The other species. The matriarch kneels to inspect. Around her, the others stiffen. The question is unspoken, friend or foe. These tracks cross their foraging route, not by chance. Someone is watching, and somewhere beyond the trees, hidden in the tall grass, a pair of human eyes watch back. Not Erectus, not habilis. Us. Night cloaks the savannah once more, but this darkness carries weight. Not just the silence of beasts returning to their dens, but the tension of two intelligent species sensing each other. The Homo erectus gather in a tight circle firelight, casting their shadows high upon the rock walls. Every movement slows. Every ear strains for sound beyond the flame's crackle. The matriarch tightens her grip on a stone axe. Around her, the young huddle beneath fur hides eyes flicking toward the trees. Somewhere out there, Homo sapiens move. Quieter, faster, with tools of bone and flint, refined beyond Erectus craftsmanship. They've shared this territory for moons. Now at first from a distance, now closer, closer still. Not once has a word passed between them. Only glances, only mirrored recognition. Then a sound, low, deliberate echoes from the tree line. Not an animal cry. A signal. The Erectus male who carried the fire earlier stands. Slowly, cautiously, he steps into the open hands, spread, weapon lowered. From the dark, a human emerges upright and cautious, his eyes scanning every face around the fire. He carries no weapon, just a pouch filled with fruit roots and dried meat, a peace offering. The Erectus male steps forward, receives the food, then returns with a pelt, soft, thick, clean. An exchange. No violence, no words. Only gifts passed hand to hand beneath starlight. By morning, the humans are gone, leaving no trace but new tracks. And something more, a line that has not been crossed in aggression, but in recognition. A fragile thread of peace woven between two species destined to share this world. For now, the tribe moves on, through riverbeds and over windswept cliffs. A child once feverish now walks with steady feet, his infection cured by crushed bark and river clay, the knowledge passed from elder to youth. A new generation follows behind, stronger than the last, not because of conquest, but because of memory. And as the sun rises behind them, casting gold across their backs, one can almost believe that two human lineages could survive together not in war, but in parallel. Sharing water, sharing fire, sharing the burden of what it means to endure. This is not just the story of one species. It is the legend of what might have been.